Hello and welcome you guys. Today I have a really fascinating plant for you guys. This here is the Peperomia caparata silver ripple. So I know I haven't posted in like 10 days, so I'm sorry about that you guys. I'll try to be a little bit more consistent. This over here is a really just interesting house plant. I'm probably going to focus on house plants for the next couple of videos at least, simply because it's so cold outside and there's not really a whole lot to see out there. Everything's dormant. Yeah. So yeah. So this over here is a very popular houseplant these days. This is the silver ripple peperomia. Its genus and species name is Peperomia caparata. This over here is in the family Peperaceae. So this over here is the pepper family. So this is the family where you find peppercorns and similar plants that have really small, usually black, sometimes dark, sometimes even navy blue seeds. And they have this really interesting tall spadix bloom structure too. So this over here is an adapted species from the emerald ripple Peperomia caparata. Recently hybridized. This year was hybridized back in the 1960s-ish, I want to say. Don't quote me, I'm not really sure. But yeah, so this is not an edible plant, unfortunately. It's just purely for show. I think it's really interesting the way that it has this really sort of glossy, silverish tint to it. I don't know if the camera is picking up on that, but it just has this really interesting dual chrome to it. It grows basally, much like an African violet. I'll actually make another video on African violet later. And it has these really interesting offsets. So yeah, it has this really interesting bloom structure to it too. It's tall, it's very thin, oftentimes twice as tall or even taller than the canopy of the plant itself. It can potentially bloom for you year round if you keep up your temperature and humidity, but usually they bloom for me around September. So yeah, this plant is not to be confused with the Solanaceae family and the genus Capsicum, which is where you get your bell peppers from. This is a completely different family. And the genus Peperomia is very diverse. So I'm going to make another video on Peperomia arbustifolia, which is the broadleaf peperomia. And then I'll try to make another video later on the Peperomia argyrea, which is the watermelon leaf peperomia. Because they're just so diverse, they share such few characteristics with one another, yet they're still closely taxonomically related to one another. So a couple of growing tips. I recommend keeping to a schedule if you're going to grow these guys. They tend to rot really easily. They don't like a whole lot of water. I recommend watering them like every Friday or Saturday and just really stick to your schedule. This is definitely a plant that likes routine. Another thing I want to say is you want to keep it pretty warm. They don't like cold weather at all. You want to keep them in soils that are relatively loose. You don't want to let them get too pot bound. I recommend dividing the clumps every couple of years just to keep vigor. This is about half of mature size. They get to about 2 feet in width and they get a little bit taller. Very easy to propagate. You can propagate with individual leaf cuttings. You can divide them. You can even grow them by seed. They do come true by seed actually. They don't tend to revert back to the emerald ripple peperomia variety. Another thing I want to say is this is a low light plant. It's suitable for the interior of houses. It's not really very fussy on lighting situations as long as it doesn't get complete leaf scorch, because excess light will actually scorch the leaves and give you a few shot holes, and that's just not very sightly. So by far the biggest issues are internal rots and bacterial problems due to excessive watering. So just really water sparingly, make sure the top inch or so of the soil surface is dry before you water next time. So this plant over here does benefit from a little bit of a liquid feed fertilizer. I recommend like the Job's spikes too. Those tend to work too, but it's not a very heavy feeder. That just essentially helps with blooming for the most part. So this over here is my introduction to this cute little peperomia. I'll try to update you guys when it blooms. Yeah, it is prone to getting tears inside its leaves too, so just something to keep mindful of. So I hope you guys all have a really fantastic day. Oh, actually one more thing. Just wanted to show you the stems underneath are kind of like almost purple in color. Don't know if that'll pick up on camera, but it's very pretty. Yeah, so I hope you guys have a really wonderful day. Stay blessed. I'll try to be more consistent with my videos. Please bear with me. A lot of them are going to be ornamental plants, just for the next while until I get new inventory. And yeah, stay safe out there, you guys, and enjoy your peperomias.